Hey, what's up guys? Mikey here. I didn't get any chocolate in my stocking at Christmas time, but I did get this Twix bar from one of my relatives. I would eat it, but I have a dentist appointment coming up, and I got a little sick to my stomach after all the chocolate I ate before Christmas, so I don't want this now. But I will say, at least it's Twix, which is a good chocolate bar, because I'd be willing to bet that there is not a single piece of bad chocolate out there. It is chocolate after all. Chocolate with Nuts is the episode where SpongeBob and Patrick try to become entrepreneurs and make money by selling chocolate to people, but face hilarious struggles along the way. This episode aired on June 1st, 2002, and is the episode that features this Hershey's Kiss as a real-world product placement instead of a parody of some sorts. It's weird, but product placement like this was not very common in a show like SpongeBob or most Nickelodeon shows at the time. But thankfully, real-world product placement doesn't happen a lot in the show. This is one of the most famous episodes of the series for multiple reasons, with one of those reasons being the characters SpongeBob and Patrick interact with. Some of them actually appear in the more modern seasons, more often than you'd think in some cases, like the Con Man or Lazy Mary and her mom. And of course, Tom, aka the Chocolate Guy, which was coined after this episode. Chocolate! His name is Tom, who is a normal background fish. This is his first major appearance, but his name was revealed to be Tom in episode 51, Patty Hype from season 2.
Hey, Tom! Fred!
I'd argue this is the first episode to put more of a focus on the background characters, as this episode gives Tom a lot of screen time compared to previous episodes. There is a lot of good to discuss about this one, but we'll praise this episode in a few minutes, right after we watch the episode so we can all get on the same page here. So the episode starts up and SpongeBob scares the shit out of the mailman. He finds a Fancy Living Digest magazine and sees some super rich people in it. But it turns out the magazine was Squidward's, so he claimed what was rightfully his. SpongeBob asks how the people in the magazine get as rich as they did, and Squidward says they were entrepreneurs and sell shit to people. SpongeBob and Patrick decide to become entrepreneurs themselves to make money. SpongeBob thinks of something you could have right now without thinking. For me, I would have everything that would make me fully happy. Patrick suggests a chocolate bar, so they decide to travel and sell chocolate bars. After buying a lot of them from Bargain Mart, they attempt to sell to Tom, who starts to go f***ing ballistic and chase SpongeBob and Patrick away. They later try to sell chocolate to somebody else, who calls them mediocre salesmen because of the way they were carrying their chocolate bars with no protection, and shows off his own bag to carry the candy bars in. SpongeBob and Patrick buy a ton of bags, much to the con man's delight. They try next door, only to run into the same con man as the last time, who this time tries to sell them his patented bags that can carry other candy bar bags. Is his patent pending? Later, SpongeBob and Patrick come across a lady who agrees to buy a chocolate bar, but they can't find one no matter how many bags they open up. But by the time they do find one, the lady went inside in frustration, and they get chased by Tom again. Later at the diner, SpongeBob and Patrick try to think of a new tactic to sell. Since they bought the candy bar bags because the con man made them feel special in quotation marks, they decided to be nice to the customers. They weren't already being nice to the customers? When they tried again, Patrick's love made the guy uncomfortable, so SpongeBob tried himself. He mostly just brought up the chocolate, but the guy didn't want any because of how much sugar is in chocolate, which has resulted in him being dummy fat when he was 13. Patrick buys 10 copies, and SpongeBob decided that they need to stay focused on the next house. When they get there, Patrick takes the focusing line way too literally, so the guy slams the door on his eyes. Later on, SpongeBob and Patrick found a billboard advertising barnacle chips, which aren't really delicious.
Not the way I use them.
I don't know how Patrick uses them, but I wonder if his method would work for every piece of food that tastes like shit. Patrick says the marketer stretched the truth, which gave SpongeBob the idea of doing just that. After they run away again, they talk to an old lady whose mother is shockingly still alive. Mary told her mom that they were selling chocolate, which her mom remembered being around when it was first invented. She hated chocolate, so that lady is over 3,000 years old? But Patrick said it'll make you live forever if you rub it on your skin. So the mom bought it, much to Mary's disdain. What follows is a montage of SpongeBob and Patrick lying about their chocolate to lots more people they come across. Soon they're outside one last guy's house looking injured. But when he came outside, he was even more injured, sharing how he was born with glass bones and paper skin. And I was born with all this hair on my head. His support broke and he fell down the stairs. So SpongeBob and Patrick helped him inside, and he said that they can help him by selling chocolate bars, so they each took a full crate. And after they left, the injured guy was revealed to be the con man all along. Now that they were broke, they had no other lead to go to. But then Tom came back and had them cornered, and now had the opportunity to buy all of their chocolate, leaving SpongeBob and Patrick at a loss for words. That's going to give Tom indigestion and no teeth. After SpongeBob and Patrick get a lot of money, they spend it to rent out the restaurant Fancy for a one-night private party, take out Lazy Mary and her mom, and the episode ends. So that was Chocolate with Nuts, and that is a phenomenal episode. There is so much to praise here. My favorite scenes are when SpongeBob scares the mailman at the beginning, and the montage with SpongeBob and Patrick stretching the truth to everybody. The music here is great, and the absurd promises are hilarious. SpongeBob and Patrick's antics throughout are also extremely funny. I love how quick Patrick is to buy anything from anybody, like 10 copies of this picture and 20 of the red candy bar bag carrying bags. I like when SpongeBob is constantly finding candy bar bags when opening candy bar bags. I love SpongeBob and Patrick's conversation at the diner.
I got it. Let's get naked.
No, let's save that for when we're selling real estate.
Patrick is hilarious when he's focusing on this guy,
Focusing.
and when he tries to love this guy just to sell chocolate.
Hello?
I love you.
All the customers SpongeBob and Patrick run into are pretty memorable as well. Some of them are just a generic background fish that appear in every crowd scene, and others are the actual fan favorite characters like Lazy Mary and her mom and the con man. Most episodes don't really give the regular Bikini Bottomites a lot of screen time or dialogue. For something like episode 70, Band Geeks from season 2, which has a lot of background characters, the only ones that anybody think of are Harold because of his big meaty claws line, and the two that died in a marching accident. Both iconic scenes, don't get me wrong, but they were the only ones that come to people's minds when they talk about this episode. Granted, it would be hard to remember every single background fish by their name in an episode like this, even if they did say all their names on camera, but most people only remember like 3 or 4 maybe. In this episode, because of all the funny sequences throughout, and every interaction SpongeBob and Patrick have with the customers is unique and humorous, pretty much most, if not all of the background characters are remembered in this episode, even if their names are not said on screen. The only one whose name is actually said is Lazy Mary, which is said by her mom.
Come on, you lazy Mary!
And yet, we still remember the people SpongeBob and Patrick tried selling chocolate to. Tom the Chocolate Guy and the Con Man, all because of how great this whole episode is. That's part of the magic of this one. Even a scene that would only last a couple seconds, every character is remembered here in one way or another. Even the maitre d'. I always liked when the background characters are given more focus because it makes them super memorable and they'd often become fan favorites as a result. Other examples in the future would include episodes 212, Plankton's Regular from season 6, or 441, My Leg from season 11. There are a lot of silly gags and funny faces throughout that are also done perfectly, like Patrick's face when he leaves the diner here, the gag with his eyeballs, all the shots where he has chocolate in his pants, and this shot of SpongeBob and Patrick being wide-eyed when talking to the con man for the first time. Some fun continuity introduced in this episode. Sometimes in the future at the Krusty Krab, Squidward will be shown reading a Fancy Living Digest magazine. The con man is also shown a couple times, mainly just as a gag where he'd either lose money or something unfortunate would happen to him. And of course, Lazy Mary and her mom. How they were used in the future is a different story, but I will say that as of January 2025, Mary and her mom make appearances in 3 more episodes after this. Episodes 485, Biddy Sitting from season 12, 553, Fun Believable from season 13, and 589, Biscuit Ballyhoo from season 15. And they were both hysterical in this episode. I love when they were yelling at each other when Mary's mom can't hear what Mary was saying about chocolate. The con man is pretty casual with how he tricks SpongeBob and Patrick, and I like how he went above and beyond for the 3rd encounter. Better than when I tried to give something away. I will say, if there was a nitpick I have, at the very end, All SpongeBob and Patrick did was renting out the fancy restaurant for a night. No wonder they don't have any money in future episodes. I don't have a big problem with Mary and her mom being their dates, but what they did with the money they earned is rather anticlimactic in my opinion. But that's it, and that's nowhere near enough to ruin the episode. This is an absolute classic. I could go on about it, but I'm sure I won't really say anything new about it, so I'll say that in 2024, Nickelodeon actually released chocolate with nuts in real life. I don't have any because I couldn't find any near me. I even defied my morals and went into the certified virgin store Hot Topic and couldn't find any. Looking at pictures of the wrapper, I will say it would be even cooler if they made the wrapper look like the chocolate bar in the title card. Sure, it looks more like the chocolate bars as they appear in the actual episode, but they don't have words on it. Having the wrapper look like this would be even cooler if you think about it. Oh yeah, and I need to debunk this. This clip right here.
No, don't hurt us! No, please don't hurt me, please!
Whatever you think Patrick is saying, he's actually saying, please spare me.
Please don't hurt me, please!
Part of that phrase is muted out by SpongeBob's voice. So there you go. Chocolate with Nuts is an amazing episode. The story is great, it's got so many hilarious moments, and every character on screen is memorable for one reason or another. It's just all around awesome, and it absolutely deserves all the praise it gets. And while I can't eat that chocolate bar in real life because I can't find it, I'm sure it's a fine chocolate bar, which means that I'm right that there is no piece of bad chocolate out there. Ah, what do you know? There is a piece of bad chocolate bar out there after all. It's so bad that I can't even show it on screen. Well, looks like I lost the bet. Now I can't go back inside my house for a week.